Just hearing the name of this legendary intelligence agency is enough to make even the most hardened criminals sweat. No one ever knows when or how they might strike, and when they do, destruction follows. In the process, they often blur the line between national security and basic human rights, using interrogation methods so brutal they're hard to even imagine. In this film, you get a glimpse into the darker side of the CIA, and what they're willing to do not just to enemies, but sometimes even to their own people when things go south. We're talking about the 2012 spy thriller Safe House. The story kicks off with Matt Weston, a low-level CIA agent who's been stationed in Cape Town, South Africa, for the past year. His job? Babysitting a CIA safe house that hasn't seen any real action the entire time he's been there. After 12 long months of staring at empty walls and waiting for anything to happen, Matt is beyond bored and desperate to prove himself. Despite working for the CIA, he tries to maintain a normal life with his girlfriend, Anna, a French citizen who's planning to move back to France soon. Because of strict agency rules, Matt can't tell her the truth about his job, so he lies and says he works at a clinic. Feeling stuck and frustrated after spending a year playing glorified housekeeper, Matt tells Anna he's finally going to speak to his boss about a promotion, hoping this is his chance to step out of the shadows and into real fieldwork. After meeting up with Anna, Matt calls his supervisor, David Barlow, and asks to be reassigned to a mission in Paris, since Anna will be moving there soon. David shuts it down quickly, explaining that every active CIA operation is already staffed and that Matt simply doesn't have the field experience to qualify for something like that. Frustrated, Matt pushes back, arguing that if he's stuck guarding an empty safe house forever, how is he ever supposed to gain real experience? David gives him a vague promise that they'll revisit the conversation in 4 months. When the call ends, the reality of spending yet another stretch trapped inside that lifeless safe house hits Matt hard, and the disappointment is obvious. The story then shifts to Tobin Frost, a former CIA operative who has since become one of the agency's most wanted fugitives. The reasons behind his fall from grace are complicated, and they'll unfold soon enough. Frost is seen meeting a man named Wade, an agent from Britain's intelligence service, MI6. Wade hands him a small storage device loaded with highly classified information. Frost slips into a restroom and surgically implants the device into his own body for safekeeping. But the moment he steps back out, he's ambushed. The attacker doesn't stand a chance. Frost's combat skills, sharpened from years as a top-tier CIA operative, make quick work of him. After killing the man, Frost realizes that if one hitman found him, there are probably more waiting outside and the situation is far from over. Thinking fast, Frost swaps clothes with another man, correctly guessing that more shooters are waiting for him outside. The moment the decoy steps out, a sniper fires, dropping him instantly. The attackers rush in, only to realize they've killed the wrong guy. Frost, now disguised, slips past them unnoticed. He grabs Wade and the two speed off in a car, but the mercenaries quickly spot them again. This time their aim is precise, and Wade is fatally shot. Frost floors the gas, trying to escape, but loses control and crashes into two oncoming vehicles. As chaos erupts, a public protest is moving through the street. Frost jumps out and blends into the crowd, hoping to disappear. The mercenaries, however, identify him again and continue the chase. These men are hired killers, but why they're so determined to eliminate Frost is something the story will reveal later. With nowhere else to run, Frost heads toward the nearby US consulate and surrenders himself to avoid being killed. Word of his capture travels quickly to CIA headquarters in the United States, where Deputy Director Harlan Whitford orders that Frost be transferred to a secure safe house. After all, he isn't just any fugitive. He's a former top CIA operative who once led major missions in countries like Jordan and Iraq, making him far too valuable to lose. Frost was once a master at extracting information, an expert in pushing people to their limits to make them talk. But later, he was accused of leaking highly classified intelligence to Israel's agency, Mossad. Shortly after those allegations surfaced, he vanished without a trace. For the past 10 years, the CIA searched relentlessly but never managed to track him down. Now, by pure coincidence, Frost turns up in Cape Town, South Africa, the exact same city where the safe house from the beginning of the film is located. Because that safe house is the closest secure location to the US consulate, Matt receives a direct call from the CIA informing him that a high-value detainee is being transferred there immediately. He springs into action, first calling Anna to cancel their plans, making up an excuse about a sick colleague who left him extra paperwork. Before the CIA team arrives, Matt prepares the house according to protocol. Soon, a transport team shows up with Frost in custody, led by CIA agent Daniel Kiefer. Matt is stunned. After a decade of failed attempts to capture Frost, the agency suddenly has him, and the fact that he surrendered voluntarily feels suspicious. Once inside the safe house, Daniel wastes no time starting the interrogation. He prepares to use waterboarding, a brutal technique often depicted in spy films, where a cloth is placed over a person's face and water is poured continuously over it, creating the terrifying sensation of drowning while still conscious. Just before a detainee completely loses breath, the towel is lifted. Then the process starts again. That's how waterboarding works. Repeated cycles meant to break someone mentally and physically. When Daniel picks up the towel, Frost calmly tells him it won't work, and even suggests using a heavier one. The reason? Frost himself once perfected these interrogation methods. Daniel ignores the taunt and proceeds anyway, pouring water over Frost's covered face again and again. But Frost doesn't crack. He endures it without giving up a single piece of information. Frustrated, Daniel prepares to escalate the torture, when suddenly the safe house alarm blares. Surveillance reveals 12 heavily armed mercenaries approaching the building. They're the same killers who've been hunting Frost, and now they're storming the safe house to finish the job. Daniel and his team scramble to defend the facility, but within moments the attackers blast through the inner doors with grenades. Several CIA agents are seriously injured in the explosion. A fierce gunfight erupts, yet the mercenaries are better equipped, carrying more advanced and heavier weapons. One by one, the CIA team is overwhelmed and killed. The attackers' leader ultimately executes Daniel. Meanwhile, Matt has remained in the interrogation room guarding Frost. Amid the chaos, Frost tells him the assault is about him. The mercenaries won't stop until they get him. Then he adds something unexpected. Criminal or not, he's technically Matt's guest in that safe house, and it's Matt's duty to protect him at all costs. Hearing that leaves Matt shaken and conflicted. After watching Daniel get executed right in front of him, Matt knows there's no time to hesitate. He grabs Frost and escapes through a hidden exit in the safe house. Outside, Matt pulls his pistol and forces a passing driver to stop, shoving Frost into the trunk before jumping behind the wheel himself. The mercenaries quickly resume the chase. When Matt contacts CIA headquarters, he's ordered not to head toward the US consulate. Any firefight there could trigger a diplomatic disaster. Instead, he's told to keep moving until he receives the location of the next safe house. Racing through crowded city streets, Matt drives with surprising skill, pushing the car to its limits. The mercenaries struggle to keep up. Two of their vehicles crash trying to corner him, and even their leader's gunfire fails to stop him. Meanwhile, Frost has been relentlessly working to free himself. After repeatedly slamming against the trunk, he finally breaks through the back seat and crawls into the car. He lunges at Matt, trying to seize control of the wheel just as the attackers close in again, trapping Matt between enemies outside and chaos inside the vehicle. Thinking fast, Matt swerves into a garage and slams to a stop. He jumps out, aims his pistol directly at Frost, and regains control of the situation. With no other choice, Frost backs down, and at gunpoint, Matt forces him to get behind the wheel and drive. Frost tells Matt that someone inside the CIA must have leaked the safe house location. There's no other way such a highly classified site could have been exposed so quickly. Back at CIA headquarters, Deputy Director Harlan Whitford, Senior Case Officer Catherine Linklater, and Director David Barlow coordinate the crisis. They suspect the leak came from inside the operation, which means no one is above suspicion, not even Matt. As a precaution, they begin monitoring his girlfriend, Anna. Unaware of the full extent of that scrutiny, Matt takes Frost to another temporary hideout and uses a landline to call Anna. He feeds her another lie, claiming that someone threatened the clinic where he works, which is why he couldn't respond to her messages and had to stay up all night. Matt has been lying to her from the start. Sensing the CIA might be watching her, he asks Anna to look out her window. Just as he feared, she spots a police car parked outside her apartment. Realizing the agency has placed her under surveillance, Matt urgently tells her to leave and go somewhere safe, still without telling her the truth about his real job. After hanging up, he returns to Frost. Frost coolly points out that Matt can't keep lying forever. Eventually, Anna will figure it out. Matt ignores the warning and instead demands to know why the mercenaries are so determined to hunt Frost down. Frost refuses to give Matt a straight answer. Instead, he warns him that he's already landed on the CIA's suspicion list. According to Frost, once they reach the next safe house, other agents will likely show up, tell Matt they're taking over the case, and quietly sideline him. That, Frost says, is the real red flag, because when the CIA starts doubting one of its own, they don't show mercy. Meanwhile, Matt gets another call from headquarters, this time from his boss, David Barlow. David tells him a new safe house has been arranged outside the city, but no extraction team can reach them for at least 12 hours. That means Matt has to transport Frost there himself. David sweetens the deal by promising that if Matt pulls this off cleanly, he'll be transferred out of South Africa. Desperate for a way out, Matt agrees. David then gives him a locker number at a metro station. Inside, he'll find the equipment and the coordinates for the new location. Matt heads to the station with Frost, again forcing him to drive at gunpoint. Once there, Matt opens the locker and retrieves a device containing the safe house address. It's nearby. However, to get there, they'll have to pass through a stadium packed with fans, where a high-energy soccer match is underway. With the stadium traffic gridlocked, driving is no longer an option, so Matt forces Frost to continue on foot toward the arena. Frost plays along until they hit the thick crowd outside. Suddenly, he throws his cuffed hands in the air and starts shouting for help, yelling that Matt is kidnapping him. Nearby police immediately rush in. Matt tries to explain, but without being able to reveal he's CIA, his story falls apart. The officers tackle him, restrain him, and take both men into custody, placing them in separate rooms. Thinking fast, Matt claims he's an American law enforcement officer and warns them that Frost is extremely dangerous and likely planning an escape. Moments later, surveillance cameras confirm exactly that Frost has slipped away. Most of the officers run to find him, leaving one behind to guard Matt. Matt seizes the opportunity, overpowers the officer, frees himself, and heads back out. After searching through the chaos of the stadium, he spots Frost disguised as a security guard trying to blend in. Matt chases him through the packed arena and fires a warning shot to stop him. Just as he's about to catch up, another police officer draws a gun on Matt. With no choice, Matt shoots the officer in the leg to disable him, then quickly disappears into the crowd, the situation spiraling further out of control. Out of nowhere, Frost steps from the shadows and points a gun at Matt, ordering him to drop his weapon. When Matt tries to resist, Frost drives a brutal punch into his stomach, nearly knocking the air out of him. Frost raises the pistol again, and Matt, struggling to breathe, asks if he's going to kill him. Frost smirks, presses the gun to Matt's head, but instead of pulling the trigger, he fires a shot past his ear. The bullet grazes so close that Matt's ear starts bleeding instantly. Frost coolly tells him he only kills professionals, not amateurs like him, then walks away, leaving Matt shaken and disoriented. It takes Matt time to recover from the blast ringing in his head. By then, a citywide alert has been issued. After shooting a police officer in the leg, Matt is now considered armed and dangerous. Changing his appearance, he slips away from the area and contacts CIA headquarters to report that Frost has escaped. Senior Officer Catherine Linklater angrily orders him to report to the U.S. consulate for debriefing, but Matt argues that if he stops now, Frost will disappear for good. After a year in Cape Town, he knows the city better than anyone and believes he's the only one who can track him down. Deputy Director Whitford then takes the phone and tells Matt his part is done. They're taking over from here. It's exactly the warning Frost gave him earlier. Matt starts to realize Frost wasn't just messing with him. There's truth in what he said. The CIA is already watching Anna, which means she's now part of the fallout. That's a line Matt refuses to let them cross. He meets with her and finally comes clean, admitting he's lied from the beginning and that he's actually a CIA agent. The confession hits hard and Anna is devastated. Matt tells her that while his job was a lie, his feelings were not. He doesn't want her caught in the crossfire, so he hands her a ticket to Paris and urges her to leave immediately. With no real choice, she says goodbye. Back at headquarters, Catherine Linklater grows suspicious that Matt may be compromised or even working with Frost, but David Barlow dismisses the idea. Still, Deputy Director Whitford orders both of them to head to Cape Town to personally oversee the situation. Meanwhile, Frost has retreated to a hidden location. There, he surgically removes the small device implanted in his body, the same device everyone has been fighting over because it contains explosive classified information. After extracting it, Frost changes his appearance, even cutting his hair to reinvent himself completely. At the same time, the CIA notices that Matt has been accessing old reports from his profile, specifically files on local passport forgers. He's thinking ahead. If Frost plans to flee the country, a fake passport will be his next move, and Matt intends to find him before that happens. Since Frost doesn't have a legitimate passport, Matt correctly figures he'll need a fake one, and that's their best shot at tracking him. It doesn't take long to prove Matt right. Frost heads to the home of an old contact named Carlos, a known passport forger whose name appears in the CIA database. The same file Matt had been reviewing. Carlos agrees to make him a counterfeit passport. Following that lead, Matt drives toward Carlos's house, but before he can intervene, the mercenary team storms the place and opens fire. How they keep pinpointing Frost's location remains a mystery, and their identities are still unknown. The first bullet hits Carlos, who urges Frost to run. Frost barely has time to react before the mercenaries slaughter Carlos and his entire family. With no way to save them, Frost fights back, killing one attacker before scrambling onto the rooftop. He sprints across the neighborhood, leaping from one tin roof to another as gunfire erupts below. The mercenaries unload round after round, but can't land a clean shot, while Frost manages to take several of them down in return. Meanwhile, Matt tails the chaos from a parallel street, keeping his distance so neither Frost nor the mercenaries spot him. During the rooftop chase, A sheet of tin collapses under Frost's weight, sending him crashing down inside the building. Moments later, the mercenary leader closes in and launches a direct attack. Frost and the mercenary leader engage in a brutal hand-to-hand fight, each landing heavy blows and leaving the other bloodied. After a vicious struggle, Frost manages to break away and run, bullets tearing through the air as the remaining mercenaries open fire. This time, however, Matt steps in, jumping out of his car and firing at the attackers to cover Frost. He shouts for him to get in, and together, they speed off. Frost is stunned, unable to figure out how Matt tracked him down. But before he can press for answers, a mercenary vehicle slams into them at full force, flipping their car. Miraculously, both men crawl out with only minor injuries and rush into a nearby building, the mercenaries right behind them. Inside, the fight turns savage. Frost takes down multiple attackers with ruthless efficiency, shooting them after overpowering them in close combat. One manages to shoot Frost in the leg, but even wounded, he kills the man without hesitation. Meanwhile, another mercenary comes at Matt with a knife. Matt struggles but ultimately overpowers him, throwing him down and shooting him to neutralize the threat. One by one, the entire mercenary team falls to Frost and Matt. Only one attacker is left alive, badly injured. Matt grabs him and demands to know who sent them. The man refuses to talk at first, but Matt escalates the pressure, determined to force out the truth. The wounded mercenary finally breaks and says he works for a man named Vargas, someone contracted by the CIA. That revelation hits hard. From the beginning, the CIA itself hired the mercenary team to eliminate Frost, even if it meant sacrificing their own agents in the safe house. Realizing this, Matt's anger toward the agency deepens. He takes the injured Frost to a drug clinic and patches up his gunshot wound as best he can. While recovering, Frost opens up, telling Matt he was once just as idealistic and naive. But after being ordered to kill innocent people, something inside him died. He warns Matt never to cross that line. Frost confesses that years ago he assassinated an air traffic controller as part of a covert CIA operation designed to bring down a commercial plane. On board was a man carrying proof of the agency's illegal activities, someone preparing to testify in court. To silence him, the CIA engineered the crash, and Frost carried out the dirty work, including killing an innocent controller who had nothing to do with it. Later, the agency framed Frost with false accusations of arms trafficking to cover their tracks. Haunted by guilt and unable to forgive himself, he eventually walked away from the CIA. Even after hearing all of this, Matt decides to move Frost to the new safe house, a remote location far outside the city. When they arrive at the remote safe house, the caretaker Keller greets them. But Matt isn't taking any chances. He knows the CIA now sees him as a potential threat, and he has no idea what orders Keller might be under. Matt keeps his gun trained on him and orders Frost to be handcuffed. Keller complies and contacts CIA headquarters to confirm Frost's arrival. After that, Matt lowers his weapon slightly, and the three of them wait for the CIA team to show up. During a tense exchange, Matt asks Keller for some coffee. Keller gestures toward a shelf and tells him to grab it himself. The moment Matt stands, Keller attacks. That confirms it. Someone higher up gave the order to eliminate him. A brutal fight explodes between them. Savage and desperate, they trade heavy blows, smashing through a window and crashing outside. The struggle continues in the dirt, and at one point Keller grabs a shard of broken glass and drives it straight into Matt's abdomen. Blood pours from the deep wound, but even then Matt refuses to go down. He clamps his hands around Keller's throat and, after a violent struggle, he snaps his neck, killing him. All the while, Frost has been watching from a distance, still handcuffed. Bleeding heavily, Matt staggers over to him and says he's dying. So it's time for the truth. Why did Frost really come to Cape Town? And why is the CIA so desperate to find him? Frost finally reveals the truth that ties everything together. The microchip in his possession contains explosive secrets, classified information exposing how major intelligence agencies like CIA and MI6 have carried out covert assassinations of innocent people, along with detailed records of illegal interrogation tactics and other unethical operations that could shake the world. After leaving the CIA a decade earlier, Frost began quietly gathering evidence, knowing the agency would eventually see him as a threat. To discredit him, they labeled him a traitor and issued a global alert, forcing him into the shadows for 10 years while he continued building his case. The breakthrough came when he obtained a report originally compiled by agents from Mossad to blackmail the CIA. That report somehow ended up with MI6 agent Wade, and from Wade, Frost acquired the device. From that moment on, the CIA made eliminating him their priority. After confessing all this, Frost takes the microchip and walks out of the safe house, leaving a badly wounded Matt behind. Meanwhile, David Barlow and Catherine Linklater have already arrived in South Africa. Catherine uses her sources to track Frost's movements, and once they confirm Matt brought him to the safe house, they head there immediately. But just before getting into the car, David suddenly turns his gun on Catherine and shoots her dead. David reaches the safe house and finds Matt barely alive but still breathing. After giving him basic first aid, Matt slowly regains consciousness. When he wakes up, David puts on a supportive act, telling him how proud they are of him. Then he casually asks whether Frost killed Keller. Matt shocks him by admitting that he was the one who pulled the trigger, and that he knows Keller attacked him under direct orders from the CIA. The conversation quickly turns to the device Frost was carrying. David presses him for its location, and Matt explains that Frost took it. If that information ever goes public, powerful officials, people exactly like David, would be exposed. Catherine would have caused serious trouble too if she'd learned the truth, which is why David eliminated her himself. Soon, we see the mercenary team leader, Vargas, the very man David secretly hired, making it clear they've been working together all along and are now preparing to hunt Frost down. But before they can move, gunfire erupts outside. Frost has come back. One by one, he takes out the guards surrounding the safe house. David steps outside only to find their vehicles engulfed in flames, and in the next instant, a massive explosion blasts him off his feet. Inside, Frost confronts Vargas and shoots him down before he can even react. With the mercenaries wiped out, Frost turns to Matt and prepares to get him out of there. Frost had come back for one reason, to save Matt. He knew the CIA wouldn't let him live once he'd outlived his usefulness. But just as Frost prepares to get Matt out of the safe house, David opens fire from the shadows. The bullet tears into Frost's side, dropping him to his knees. Thinking he's won, David steps forward in triumph, only to be shot dead by Matt, who fires from the bed despite his injuries. Fighting through the pain, Matt drags himself over to Frost. Frost understands this is the end for him. Before he dies, he presses the storage device into Matt's hand and tells him he couldn't finish the job. Now it's Matt's responsibility. Moments later, Frost collapses and dies. Wounded but alive, Matt manages to stumble out of the safe house. Weeks later, after recovering, he meets with Deputy Director Whitford. Matt has written a full report detailing everything that happened, placing the blame squarely on David. Whitford reads it and says changes need to be made. Pinning it all on David would damage the CIA's reputation. He even offers Matt a major promotion, then casually asks about the storage device. Matt calmly replies that Frost never mentioned anything like that to him. Whitford warns that if those files ever leak, it would cause global chaos, and whoever releases them would instantly make enemies of every major intelligence agency in the world. Whitford makes it clear that if those files ever surface, neither the CIA nor MI6 would ever let Matt live in peace. Even after the threat, Matt flatly denies having anything. Whitford gives him a week off to think it over, but Matt fires back with a cold, agency-style response. He'll handle it from here. After walking out of CIA headquarters, Matt uses his phone to anonymously leak the files to the media. Once the information goes public, the fallout is immediate. Senior officials from both the CIA and MI6 are exposed, their corruption and brutal covert operations laid bare for the world to see. The global reaction is explosive, and among those implicated is Whitford himself. When his misconduct is revealed, he's arrested along with the other corrupt officers. In the end, Matt finishes what Frost started, completing the mission Frost never lived to see through. With everything behind him, Matt boards a flight to France. There, he finds his girlfriend Anna sitting calmly at a small cafe. For the first time, he feels a deep sense of peace. After everything that happened, she's safe, and together they leave the darkness of their past behind, ready to start a new life as the story comes to a close.